Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hailey podcast. How is everybody doing today? I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting really excited about the holidays. I'm just pulling out all my sweaters, okay? I love a good sweater. I love a good sweater dress. For those who are tuning in on YouTube, hello. What do you guys think of my outfit? And for everyone listening, how are you guys? It's so amazing to have you here today. A little bit of an update for you guys. I have been getting ready for Hailmas. So for those who don't know this, Hailmas is my version of Vlogmas. It's essentially where you film every single day on YouTube. And I'm going to be doing Monday through Friday leading up until Christmas. So it'll be from December 1st to the 25th. And I've been preparing in advance just so that I do not get overwhelmed during the process. And I'm really excited about it this year. I don't know. I'm just very much in the holiday spirit, although it's a lot of work and it requires a lot of my attention. I actually end up becoming quite of a solo dolo type of girl during the month of December. I don't really see a lot of people because I know that I'm going to have to work every day. So right now I've been just kind of making sure that I schedule in all my friends prior. So I have a lot of things coming up in the next few days and even weeks. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so I'm watching this little TikTok series right now, and it's posted by a girl named Anyeka, who was actually on The Bachelor. And I don't know how I stumbled upon this. I think it probably just happened to pop up on my For You page, and then I got sucked in. But she posted this 20 plus part series called The Danish Deception. And it's essentially another Tinder swindler type of story. And it's so crazy because I have definitely been able to observe things from a particular perspective where I understand why people have been swindled, but I also am able to identify where maybe some of the blinders were up. And even myself, being someone who has dated someone who possessed narcissistic tendencies. I dated this guy many years ago who was so narcissistic. He lied about everything, and he also did have a gambling issue. And it was just something that I have never dealt with before, where I'm looking at someone and speaking with them and they are completely wearing a mask. But it's so funny how every narcissist all does the same thing. They manipulate you, and then when you expose their manipulation, they get sick of you and they discard you. So a lot of the times you're usually the one that is left picking up the pieces when dealing with a narcissist. And you have been so manipulated and gaslit, and you're under this ridiculous spell of infatuation and just delusion that a lot of the times you're the one that stays and they're the one who leaves you, which is crazy. I have so much empathy for people that are in these situations, but I think even just going through something like this myself, the biggest takeaway, and I'm not going to ruin the entire story time for you guys, I would recommend going and watching the 20-part series on TikTok because it's entertaining if you like to watch things on TikTok while you're getting ready or driving. But the thing that I would say is to always look people up, fact check, be inquisitive, be curious. You should never just take somebody's word for anything. I remember I went on this date with this guy recently, and every once in a while I'll get very put off by a person for a very minor thing. And I know that sounds kind of annoying, but it's because I am annoying. And essentially, I was kind of annoyed by him because when we sat at dinner, he told me that he did not look me up, which kind of bothered me because I don't know, maybe it's a woman thing. But when I get somebody's first and last name, I am looking you up. I am making sure that you're not a criminal. I am trying to run all the things that I can on my own to protect myself. So to find out that people are just out here going on dates and seeing people without even looking up their Instagram or even just their name on Google, I don't know, maybe I just find that to be a little bit harmful. I kind of said to him oh, don't you think it's important to look people up just to make sure that everything that they're saying to you tracks and that they're not a fake person? And he said that he never thought of it, which I thought was interesting. I digress. I think it's so crucial that we are inquisitive, we are curious, expecting some sort of proof when somebody tells us something, not from a place of where we assume that they're being deceptive, but more so of just that we're inquisitive and we want to know more. So yeah, that was something that was very interesting. The ending was very not surprising. That's usually how every narcissist usually ends every dynamic with a person. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And they do normally blow you up, annoy you. They discard you in such a very bizarre way. And they use you and abuse you. And there's usually a lot of triangulation where they have another person involved in your relationship. They're never monogamous. They always have somebody else that you either don't know about or that they slightly share with you that's from their past. We can do an entire topic one day on narcissists because I have dated one. I've dated two, but I've dated one where it was more noticeable after everything was said and done, and I experienced that person when I was an adult. So we can always talk about that down the line. I would love to. But today's topic I'm really excited about because it has to do with friendships, and I won the friendship lottery. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of things in my life that did not go perfectly, but the one thing that I can say is I have really great girlfriends. So many of you guys have messaged me throughout the years to do more podcast episodes or YouTube videos on the topic of friendships and how to attract them, how to manifest them, what to look for, and how to even be a better friend. So I want to do that today. So today's episode is all about how to manifest really amazing friends, people who are going to be in your life for the long term, people who are going to add value to your life and where you're going to feel like you are getting all of your needs met when it pertains to connection. Now, I have had a lot of one-on-one consults with girls who have told me that they have been really struggling in the friendship department. They either just cannot make good female friends in adulthood, or they don't know where to find them. They don't know how to really go about attracting them and manifesting them. And I always ask the people who have said this to me about their past friendships. And it seems like a lot of women who have failed in the friendship department or just don't have a good group or just a good solid friend tend to have very jaded and just traumatic stories about women who have wronged them in the past. Now, I think a lot of people just assume that I won the friendship lottery and that I've never dealt with having bad friends or that I've just not met negative people, which isn't true. I am the kind of person where I give everybody a fair chance. If you lined up 6 girls in front of me right now, usually only 1 out of the 6 would be my friend. And maybe I would give them all a try, but in maybe a few weeks, months, or years, I would realize that I really only get along with 1 of those 6 people. And I've gotten better at discerning what to look for in a long-term friend that suits me. And everyone needs to kind of sit down and think about what you require in a friendship and what you're also willing to do and give. So many people want friends, but don't want to do the work. You want to have a community, you want to have a group, but you are not willing to outsource, look for them, to initiate. So let's discuss all of the things that I think you should look for in a friendship, and even just things that you should manifest, that you should discern, and even just what you should become in order to get the friendships you desire. So let's get into it. The holidays are almost here, and if you still have names on the list, don't panic. Uncommon Goods makes holiday shopping stress-free and simple, with thousands of one-of-a-kind gifts that you literally cannot find anywhere else. You'll discover presents that feel meaningful and personal, so that when you gift them to someone, it genuinely looks like it's coming from the heart. It will never present as rushed or last minute because it's meaningful, it's sentimental, and it's special. I literally came across this cute pet ornament that I think I'm gonna get for the dogs, and I love getting things for my Christmas tree that are sentimental, that are meaningful, and you can even gift it to like someone that you love. Like my mom has 2 dogs. I would love to gift her something like that. But Uncommon Goods has gifts like a personalized pet ornament that you can gift to someone so that it's going to have a meaningful feel to it. And what I truly love about Uncommon Goods is that they look for products that are unique, that are high quality, and that are made in the US. Many are crafted by independent artists and small businesses. And with every purchase that you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. So don't wait. Make this holiday season the year that you gift someone something that is truly unforgettable. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/HailYes. That's uncommongoods.com/HailYes for 15% off your next gift. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. I really want you guys to start looking for friendships where the women that you want to befriend inspire you. A huge reason why a lot of friendships tend to fail is because you are friends with people who are very negative, who are belittling, who live in a very small-minded place, who are not optimistic, who are not worldly, who don't have anything that you view as aspirational or inspiring. And a lot of the reasons why you're friends with these people is because of convenience or because maybe of a surface level thing like, oh, she's a baddie, she looks good. Which I get why an attractive woman would want to be friends with another attractive woman. You understand the same struggles and there's a level of similar vibe there. But for me, what I really find to be important in attracting really great friends is, do these women have careers or lifestyles that I'm inspired by? I don't necessarily want to have their life. I don't necessarily want to destiny swap or just even be motivated from a place of like them being my mentor, but more so of when I'm sitting in a room speaking about this person, I can essentially brag about their accolades and the type of person that they are because they are inspirational. So down to things like their morals, their values, the things that they've created in their life, their careers. I attract a lot of independent girl boss women. All of my girlfriends are go-getters. They are inspirational in that regard. They are ambitious. They are go-getters. They are intelligent. They are always continuing their education in some way, not necessarily like college related, but they read, they study, they expand, they travel, and they're just very inquisitive and open-minded, which is so important to me. So when I think of all of my girlfriends as a whole, what I think is so crucial is I don't necessarily need them to be just like me, but I need them to be people that I can look to as an inspiration, as someone that I value in my life, as someone who I think is kind and has truly earned their spot in their own life. Like they've really done the work. It could even be an internal quality that I find to be inspirational, like them having integrity, or they're just very trustworthy. They're kind to everyone. They speak eloquently. These are things that I find to be attractive in a female friend. Now that we have completely crossed that off our list of things to look for, I really want you guys to dive deep in whether or not you have become a little bit judgy when it pertains to finding friends because you want to meet women who look like you, who sound like you, who are just like you. You need to really outsource friendships from a place of the important things being similar, but the unimportant things being different. All of my friends are fundamentally very different from me. They are not the same ethnic background. They don't have the same career as me. They maybe don't even have like the same interests as me. But the things that we are very similar about is our morals, our values, how we view the world. A lot of us really do agree on most social issues. We are the same when it pertains to conversations around religiosity and dynamics when it pertains to dating. And these things are very important to me because they are the makeup of whether or not I find this person to be morally correct. And I know that that can sound a little controversial, but it's important to me. I think a lot of my friendships in the past have ended because there was a lack of flexibility on one of our parts when it pertained to seeing the other person's side of things. Now, I think that there are things that we should be more flexible with, like whether or not somebody is exactly like us. It's not necessary and it's not crucial in friendship. But for instance, if I'm friends with a girl and she's really great and we get along really well, but she has this internal battle with being friends with people who do not have the same level of faith as her. And she feels like if you don't have the same religious beliefs and that you don't practice religion the same way that she does, then you are a bad person. I can't be friends with someone like that. And I've tried, and it was something that I learned from and experienced. And now I realize I prefer people who are a little bit more flexible and open and don't really expect that from a friendship. Maybe you can expect that from a partner, a person that you are romantically involved with, because especially if you're going to have children with this person, you want that value system to be shared with your partner to raise a child. But when it pertains to friendships, I don't find that to be super crucial and important, but that's me. So what I think is something that you should look for is people who have the same social values, morals, and everything like that, but that you're not super obsessed with how they look, how they carry themselves, whether they're reserved, whether they are more conservative, whether they are, people who are quiet or loud. A lot of my friends are so different than me when it pertains to how they carry themselves. I have a friend who wears a suit and slacks every time we go out, and I'll be in my sexy tight gown or a pair of jeans and a crop. And we kind of let each other be our own people. We allow each other to have our own personal style and to carry ourselves a certain way. But when it pertains to having deep conversations about things that are important, we more than likely do agree. So that is something that I would definitely challenge you to be more inquisitive about. Okay? Stop being so obsessed with finding women who are just like you. It's nice to have a variety in your group. It's nice to have different backgrounds, even different religious backgrounds. And you can really learn a lot from having people of all walks of life in your life. You become a little bit more open-minded. You're very good at dropping some of your own personal biases because you now can see things through different people's perspectives, and you've learned how to acclimate to understanding it without altering who you are. You don't have to change who you are to appreciate and value the differences in someone else. Now, this particular thought is so important to me. And it's important to me for a multitude of reasons. And I'll tell you what it is first. You need to let friendships be a slow burn. Allow the friendship to grow in a timely fashion. I've learned my lesson in those quick, I love you after the first time hanging out. I have learned from those experiences that it's just not real. It's very rare in life that we just know that somebody is going to be our best friend off of initial meets because you don't know anything about this person. That's why I'm not really a huge believer in love at first sight. I mean, it could be lust at first sight. You might really like how this person looks and how they present themselves and what they're showing, but you don't really know a person until you get to know them. You just don't. You don't know people. So I am a big believer in having friendships that you get to know this person in a time that works for both of you. When I met my best friend Tiffany, and I always bring up this particular example whenever I talk about friendships, I really enjoyed that when we were introduced, we both put in an equal amount of effort into making sure that we were seeing each other on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and getting dinner, but it wasn't forced, it wasn't obsessive, and we weren't calling each other besties after 2-3 times hanging out. We really got to know each other, and there was a level of privacy that was still there. You don't tell this person everything about yourself. You kind of get all the surfacey things out of the way. You kind of are able to discern whether or not this person is a person with integrity or that they are a person who you jive with when it pertains to how they view life or others, how they are able to even just react to you being yourself. I think that this is something that I have really started to appreciate as I've gotten older. When people are obsessive with me off of initial meet, I already know that I'm not going to be this person's best friend because it just feels very forced and it feels a little juvenile. You have to be super mature with your heart when it pertains to giving it to others. And that's not to say that you should ever go into anything jaded or you are afraid of connection, but there is a time that is appropriate to get to know someone. And I believe that the slow burn friendships are the ones that are lifelong because you're not forcing any type of connection. You're just allowing things to grow with time. I hate when someone is too much too soon. And that goes for men as well. I don't like when men do it because it feels like love bombing, and love bombing can happen in friendships as well. People love the idea of you, especially if they know your career and they know that you make a lot of money, or they saw you with your partner and there's a level of envy or inspiration there where they found your partner to be attractive or that they were maybe rich and they had all these perceptions about you. You want people who give you the time that feels appropriate to liking you and vice versa, so that you guys can grow the friendship. It means a lot to me, and I don't like when someone is constantly bothering me, like incessantly texting me, always asking me what I'm doing, gets offended if I can't hang out with them all the time. That I already know would just be a little bit too much, especially at my age. It's just not appropriate. So yes, slow burn friendships, people who don't require too much from you. And that's not to say that we don't need to instill some sort of reciprocity there. You should be checking on your friends. You should be trying to create time, but you don't need to do it so obnoxiously in the beginning stages. It's just not appropriate. You need to be able to discern who is trying to be your friend because they want to spend time with you versus who wants to be your friend because of your resources. Now, I am the first to say that friendships should be resourceful. You should have people in your life who you can rely on, who you're inspired by, who maybe have some sort of thing that you can benefit from. I say all this to say that should not be the reason why you're friends with people. So you need to be able to discern if people want to be your friend or if they want what you have. This is so important, especially if you are a career-driven woman, you are a money move-making woman, you're a beautiful woman, or you have something that somebody would want. I remember when I started kind of thinking about having a friend group after I became a YouTuber, I got a little bit anxious about it, but it was weird. Like, it never really stopped me from pursuing friendship. I think I just looked at it differently because, yes, I can see how it could be appealing to some women to be around someone who works for herself, works in social media, and does a job that a lot of people would like to have. And I think that that's important to be inspired by your friend. But I always wanted my friends to see me for me and to give me the grace and the same amount of, I guess, bandwidth and respect that they would give to anybody else, because I don't ever want anyone to pedestalize me or want to be my friend because of something that I do. I want them to be inspired by it. I would love for my friends to say things like, I really love that you help women. I really love what you do, but it's not the reason why I love you. Does that make sense? So when you're looking for friendship, you want to be able to discern who wants to spend time with you, who wants to get to know you versus who wants something from you. Even if it's a distraction, you have to be super careful being around women who are either A, male-centered, or B, extremely insecure, where they like to have friends for the simple fact that it distracts them from their own reality, whether it's them being distracted from their situationship or distracted from something that they have going on, and the only time that person reaches out to you is when they want to get away and escape. I think that these are things that you get to know with time, of course, but once you realize it, you can't kind of unsee it. You just can't. And I know for me that a lot of my friends, what I like about them is there's an independence there. There's an autonomy there. And some of my friends are in relationships. And what I really respected about one of my friends who is in a relationship is that when I met her, she had boundaries that she instilled in her relationship where she had her own life, she had her own thing going on, and so did he. And when they came together, but he was not her whole life, and he wasn't the topic of every conversation. Because it's kind of annoying being friends with someone who makes a person who is not a part of your friend group the topic. And that's not to say that you shouldn't care about people that your friends love, but it shouldn't always be what every conversation comes back to. So I really do love that my friends, for the most part, are very autonomous, independent. They have a certain level of self-respect, and they give me the grace and the respect and the courtesy that I expect from a long-term friend. And that was what I really found to be healing in my own journey of just coming into womanhood and finding myself. When I was accepted from people that didn't expect me to be someone better, that made me feel really nice, and it allowed me to be more vulnerable, knowing that I'm accepted for my flaws, for my authenticity, for just some of the things that I am, without feeling like they're doing me a favor or without feeling like they're judging me. It's more so of just, this is Hailey, this is who she is, and all the things that come with her. And yes, she's this, but she's also that. So kind of just allowing me to be multidimensional, multifaceted. And I also allow my friends to do the same. If my friend is in an era where she's freshly in a relationship and she's booed up, I let her have her moment. I let her kind of enter that era with ease. And you really have to have that elasticity and that flexibility in friendships to see them last. You can't be so type A and expecting everyone to stay the same forever, but just knowing that there are just certain people that you'll meet who just want to spend time with you, who just want to be in your company versus what you can do for them, versus what you can bring into their life. Because yes, those things are important, but they're not what should make a friendship. Now, this is big for manifesting good friendships in the future. And it's letting go of the past and the trauma that is related to friendship. You need to stop allowing what you've been through with past women to guide you in a direction where you are entering friendships from a perspective where you're not allowing yourself to be real, you're not allowing yourself to be happy, and you're not allowing yourself to trust. I give everyone a fair chance because I have a good amount of self-trust. And I know that if I see something I don't like, that I can discern that, and then I can make a decision off of that, rather than anticipating the worst. When you anticipate the worst out of people, you usually attract people who are not great. It's like you're essentially manifesting negativity in your life. I give everyone a fair chance and I allow people to get to know me in a timely fashion. I don't think you should ever give away all of you or right off the bat to anyone. But if, let's just say, you are vulnerable and you do end up sharing with this person and they essentially go against you, they betray your trust, that's on them. And just learn to be so comfortable with your truth and with your authentic nature that people cannot use that against you. I have become so comfortable being who I am that if somebody were to relay a private matter that we had to other people, I would find that the other people should be inquisitive about why that person's sharing that, rather than why I am the way I am. I am who I am, and you accepted it when you accepted it. You just don't like it now because I don't want to be your friend anymore. So I think a lot of the times people tend to get very anxious about being themselves, and you shouldn't. You should be yourself. You should trust. You should love. You should be open, and don't necessarily do it with caution, but do it from a perspective where it just takes time. When you go into relationship dynamics where you are afraid, a lot of the times you just don't do it. You can't meet a friend sitting on your couch talking shit about women, feeling like all women are going to hurt you, going to betray you, going to do this to you. It just doesn't attract the right vibe. And you're actually putting out a negative energy that people wouldn't even want to be friends with anyways. Not only are we trying to manifest good friends, but we're trying to manifest being a good friend, because that's important. You have to be a villager to have a village. You need to contribute. You need to initiate. You need to reach out and put yourself out there, or else you're not going to have the friendships that you so badly desire. And the last thing I want you guys to understand is that friendship is never convenient, but it's always worth it. You have to understand that when you are pursuing friendship from a place of, well, I want it to be convenient, I want it to be easy, that is your way of setting the tone for a bare minimum friendship, for a friendship that doesn't have any realness to it, that doesn't have any respect towards it. I don't think friendship should be difficult. I don't think it should be traumatic. I don't think it should be something that you have to work so ridiculously hard for. But it is inconvenient, especially if you have an active life. If you have an active life, you're a career woman, you maybe have children, you have a man, you have dogs, you have cats, you have responsibilities, whatever it is. It does take some time and effort to initiate any type of plans. It does take time and effort to host. It does take time and effort to sometimes reach out, to call, to check on people. But consideration is the highest form of flattery, and you need to be a considerate person in order to attract consideration back. I realized that a huge component that was missing from a lot of my relationships in the past was that I was not displaying the very qualities that I wanted in return. And that's the reason why I wasn't getting them. I was not doing them myself. So how can I expect others to do it? You need to be someone who practices reciprocity, who understands that sometimes you have to initiate, you have to reach out, you have to contribute. You have to be someone who is willing to put in the work. You will find that, yes, there are times where you really don't want to go out or you're just not feeling it that day. But you know that canceling would be rude or that it would just be something that would not be necessary just because you're not feeling it 100%. And that 9 out of 10 times, once you're out, once you're doing it, you're always so grateful that you came out. You're always so grateful you did it. You're always so grateful that you reached out because you're usually having a good time, especially if you're introverted or just naturally a homebody. You do need to push yourself to get out. You're not always going to want it. You're not always going to enjoy it when you're planning it, but usually you're going to enjoy it while you're experiencing it, especially if you're in the presence of good company and you actually like spending time with this person. You have to be willing to put in the work, to be inconvenienced, to be someone who is reliable and makes being a mature adult an integral part of how you display your side of friendship. I have learned that what I find to be important in my friendships is people who honor their word, who have integrity, who make right. We don't always have to be on 100, but we say it. We communicate it. So let's just say I'm not having the best day, but I also don't want to cancel. I'll show up to the dinner date and I'll say right before we get started in our conversation, by the way, girl, I have not been on my best, today. It's just not my day. I just want to let you know that beforehand. I don't want you to think that it's you. My vibe might just feel a little off because it is, but I'm so happy to be here with you. And that's a great way to communicate that you might not be in the best place, but you're still really grateful to be there. And these are the things that I feel like are missing in so many different relationships, okay? It's communication. It's showing up with integrity. It's being a woman of your word. It's discretion, right? We don't need to always blab every single thing about ourselves or about others to other people. It's just not necessary. And we need to understand that friendship is also just about respecting that person enough to get to know them, get to know what is important to them, and play into that. All of my friends need a little bit of a slightly different version of me. And I have gotten to know that with time, where some of my friends really don't want to text, they don't want to call, but they want in-person meetups, where other friends want a lot of following up throughout the week. And I give them what I can. And that is what I find to be very important in nurturing a positive friendship, is giving people what they need. So no, it's not convenient, but it's so worth it. And it's such a wonderful thing to get to know about yourself, that you are capable of being a good friend and having a good friend when you start to work on these qualities. Okay, guys, that is the conclusion of how to manifest, how to attract, how to discern, getting good friends, being a good friend, and just having that aura over your life. I hope it helped you. And send this to someone who you think would really benefit from this topic. We all have that person in our lives who just does not like to go out and meet new people, but you can tell that they kind of crave connection. Send this to them, okay? Now let's get into Hail Mail, because I love answering your guys' questions each episode. By the way, if you guys want to participate in Hail Mail, essentially you just have to DM the Hail Yes podcast Instagram page, or you can leave a comment under the YouTube video if you guys are watching this on there. Here we go. A question that somebody said is a moment of imposter syndrome or clarity that you've had recently. Is there any moments where you have felt these things, or that you just were triggered by a past version of yourself? I actually really like this question. I'm going to be so real with you guys. I do not struggle with imposter's syndrome. It's just not something that I have today, because I have done so many things for myself that people swore I couldn't do that I did. And it was very stressed in my life that all the things that I wanted were going to be so difficult and they were going to be so hard to have, and then it just wasn't. So I just have found that I was able to pave my own way the way that I wanted to, and it worked for me. But I will say this. There are certain things in my life where I feel like they would be more difficult to get, and I feel that, but then I realize that they're not. So maybe the thing that I had a little bit of imposter syndrome with was, and this is not recently, but this was maybe within the past 5 years, was just finding the right love for myself. I have always been very jaded and negative minded around finding love because the truth was, I've already been in love. Like I've been in love and I've had like a really good true love. And I've always felt like when you've had your one true love, you don't really get it again. And I feel like that's just like a very negative mindset. And maybe that love served what it served, but now I'm going to find a deeper love or a more meaningful one for this era. So I've definitely changed my mind around that. And I don't want to be someone who goes into dynamics where I just don't feel like it's going to work out, because maybe that is my imposter syndrome, thinking like either I don't deserve it, or that I've just given up on other things in the past that maybe I should have worked out a little bit more. So then I kind of go into things feeling very, whatever the opposite of optimistic is. And I have learned to just kind of let that go, because I've seen people create their own dream life over and over and over again and have pivoted. So that was the clarity that I had around that. And I no longer feel that way. So I've really just been able to surrender in the healthiest way around love and connection and relationships, and just understanding that it's going to happen for me whenever it happens for me. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to enjoy my friends. I'm going to enjoy my work, and I'm going to date, and I'm going to just have fun while doing it. I really like the idea of just not being so structured and regimented around things that just require time and luck. I do not create those things. That's God, that's the universe. So in the meantime, let me be more obsessed with the things I can control. Okay, guys, I hope you really enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed making it. Hopefully this can give you guys a little bit of guidance around finding the right friend for you. And yeah, guys, make sure to rate the podcast, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, comment, write a review, 5 stars, please. I really love chatting with you guys in this type of format, so I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. And I will see you guys and speak to you guys next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Hailey podcast.
Pioneer.